Love and happiness. Love and happiness. Oh.
You're listening to On the Couch with Dr. K. I am your hostess, Dr. K, right here on 98.5 New Mix FM, the first bilingual station of the Mid-South, heard all around the world. So yay!
Oh, yeah.
Everybody. We have a super duper hot show. In fact, when I walked in today, Felix said, it's not hot in here today. I said, no, it's not, but I'm hot. I'm hot just thinking about this topic. People have responded. I hope I have enough time to read all of the responses. And I know I've said that before, but I really mean it this time. Lots of people have responded to our topic, which is bedding before wedding. Whatever happened to the tradition of abstinence before marriage? And we went on to ask the Facebook friends and our listeners, are we saying we don't believe in premarital sex, but we actually do? Are there cultures where they don't even worry about whether or not you're having premarital sex? Do women want to test out the cow just as badly as men do? Do some people decide not to marry their mates due to poor sexual performance? Do you have premarital sex, but do you feel guilty about it? And if so, what can we do about it? So we still keep the show PG.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Even though this is an adult topic, so don't worry. You don't have to scoot all your kids out of the room or anything like that. But we are spicy tonight. So for those of you who want to get in on this conversation, give us a call. We have a couple of numbers here available for you. We have 901-338-9787 and 901-650-2569. And with me tonight, I am going to have some fabulous individuals coming as we move on through our 2 hours. The first one has this absolutely gorgeous book. And I don't want any jokes about cup size because the name of his book is Every Woman Needs to Know Her Cup Size. That's CUP, Calling Uniqueness and Purpose. Measurement matters from a male perspective. And his name is Charles Bond. Beautiful book. Give him a hand.
Oh, yeah,
Yay.
Charles.
Hand. So we're going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and why you are here.
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me on, Dr.
And thank
K.
you for coming
Glad to
on.
be on the
Thank
couch.
you.
My name is Charles Bond.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an author, life coach.
Like James Bond.
Like James Bond. Just
Okay.
went out to Aston Martin.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm a life coach. I'm a pastor.
Great. Uh-huh.
I travel, motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Travel all over the world now, getting to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Doing women's empowerment mostly.
Wow.
It's where my passion is now.
Okay.
Grew up in the house with all girls. Never thought I'd write a book, 2 women or 4 women.
Okay.
But I think some of that rearing and that setting helped set the stage for that. And was blessed to write this book coming out of a very dark period.
Okay.
And wanted to write to women. Primarily, I was endorsed by Bishop T.D. Jake's daughter, Cora Jakes Coleman.
Okay.
She said that this book was the woman thou art loose for emerging generations.
Oh,
Shirley
wonderful.
Murdoch. I know you've heard of her,
Yes.
As We Lay. I just was fortunate to meet a bunch of beautiful women who helped empower me and say, yes, that male voice is missing.
Yes.
And its measurement matters from a male perspective. Every woman needs to know her cup size, her calling, her uniqueness, and her purpose. And it's not about size, it's about significance.
Exactly.
Yes.
Wow. Woo. I feel tingly. And you know what? That is the second Shirley Murdoch reference I've heard in 3 days.
Okay.
Like, how many times do you walk around and you hear somebody talking about Shirley Murdoch? And we know that song where she's like, I forgot the lady's name. She's like, this is Shirley. And I'm like, oh, my God. Oh, I would hate to get a call like that. I don't try to mess with anybody else's man because Never want to call like that. Ever. Exactly. So she would be a great person to chime in on this subject because we are asking a quintessential question. Bedding before wedding. Yes. Whatever happened to the tradition of abstinence before marriage? And I can't take the credit for this topic. As you know, listeners, we all have come up with the topics so far for all of the time we've been here at 98.5, and they're always hot, and they always come directly from those of us who are involved here with On the Couch with Dr. K, better known as the listeners. And so we actually have the young lady who thought of this topic. She is going to hopefully join us on the telephone here pretty soon, and her name is Melinda Allen Dodd. So she'll be one of our telephone co-hosts for this evening. And then we'll also have Michelle Turner, who will be here with us face to face within the next few minutes. So one thing I want to talk about is just the success we all have had here at On the Couch with Dr. K. We just reached over 2,000 likes on our fan page. Yes.
Congratulations.
Wow. Awesome. Because we were stuck at 1,999 for like 2 weeks. And I don't know what happened. Exactly. And
all of a sudden.
And that goes to show whatever you focus on will grow. And so we hit it. Last night, in the middle of the night, I know I sent you a text. I didn't think you were going to respond, but I think I sent it. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning or something crazy like that. So yeah, I'm up at 1 o'clock in the morning looking at Facebook, trying to see how things are going. So I just want to thank everyone for helping us to develop the show to the point where it is right now. We're doing great. We're looking at doing more to involve everyone and to help everyone talk about the things they want to talk about.
Exactly.
And to really try to heal ourselves. Yeah. Because a lot of us out here are hurting. I don't know if you all watched last night. My sister, who, if you just look at us, you'll automatically know she's the hipper one. She's hipper. Like she was putting this yellow in my hair last night in the kitchen. Yeah. But she is a licensed cosmetologist. She just did that for me. And we were watching something on television where they were talking about hip hop and people coming out being gay and lesbian and bisexual. Yes, and what struck me was the role of the church.
Yes.
And how many of them go to church and feel like they have really been smitten by the church. They've really been hurt. And that caused me to think about our topic for today, which is about, premarital sex, basically, and how other people may have felt that way in the church, especially if you've engaged in that and you've gotten caught by having some sort of visual representation of that, namely, a child, or maybe you've gotten AIDS or something where people can see it.
Exactly.
And they have certain negative feelings. They feel like they have been rejected by the church. So I thought this is a great time to really talk about what our real beliefs and our habits are, and to see if they're matching up. Because you hear a lot of rhetoric, but you see a lot that doesn't match with what we're saying.
Exactly.
So since you're here first, why don't you take some time to tell us about your book and tell us your initial thoughts about our topic today?
Okay. Well, first of all, Dr. K, let me just say, initially, since you segued into the conversation, I saw a little bit of that last night. I think one of the things the church needs to do is to retool how we deal with being so judgmental as Christians.
Yes.
Because if we're really in a place of authenticity, none of us have any room to point any fingers at anyone.
Exactly.
If love is the premise of what God is all about, then we have to learn how to love people, although we may not love what people do.
Right. Exactly.
And then the other part is that none of us have God cornered in. You know, like we know what God was thinking.
Exactly.
So I don't judge people for their lifestyle choices.
Right.
However, God's word is very clear. It's very replete, if I can say, with things that teach us or show us to guide us and guard us so that we won't wreck our lives.
Right.
You know, the truth of the matter is, you know, this has become a big topic, and I won't be long-winded with it because I know people think preachers talk all too much.
That's okay. Don't worry. I'll stop you.
But you know, in the book, I talk even I mentioned even our lesbian sisters, how I'm very apologetic to them for even some of the damage that males have done to the female.
Okay.
I believe it was, and I subscribe to several things. I don't lock myself in my church box just because I'm a pastor.
All right.
But I believe it was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad once said that 90% of the issues of our race can be fixed if we heal our woman. And for a black man, and I'm not racist, but for a black man, our women are heaven here on earth for us. And so we have to learn how to repair those breaches. So many negative things. I've had family members who've been molested, sisters, and things of that nature, you know, who've gone through these very tragic, horrific events at the hands of those who were supposed to be trusted.
Right.
Whether it was family and those, and you know, we were church family and we went to church. But I think one of the stigmas is church can no longer be somewhere we go. But those of us who subscribe to Christianity have to realize the church has to be who we are.
Right.
But we have to be unapologetic when it comes to moral rectitude, because we live in a society and a culture that's really anti-Christocentric. Okay. And so because we live in a culture that's so anti-Christ, that has no moral rectitude, look at where we're getting our cues from. Love and hip hop. Yeah. We're getting our cues from Empire, from media, and Hollywood has a subliminal agenda. Okay. And we have to realize that all they care about is ratings and money. Yes. And so we have to police ourselves.
I don't think that's subliminal. I think that's very. I mean, it's not behind the scenes. It's very out. I mean,
true.
Anybody who would, anytime you look at television, you know, there are commercials, and there's a reason that's where they make their money, and I don't necessarily believe that it is evil, but I do think evil can come of sometimes what we're thinking is just entertainment.
Exactly.
And some of us look at these reality shows. I was talking with a young lady not too long ago who's going to come on this show, and she was talking about how concerned she is about female business people not knowing or not having good role models for conflict resolution.
Yes.
Because now on some of these shows, the way you resolve conflict is you go up, you jump on a chair, you hit somebody over the head with a bottle, and you call them a beast, throw the wine in their faces, and whoever wins the fight, wins the conflict resolution. And so now what are our little girls how are they going to learn how to resolve conflict in ways that would be acceptable in a business environment? Because everybody's not going to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
And so I do think that we have to really think about what we're watching, and I don't have a problem. Like, if you're watching something and it doesn't affect you like that, and you know that it's supposed to be satire or parody or whatever, but if you don't understand what satire is, and you're really taking this on and talking about it as if it is real reality, you have a problem. And that is what children would do, because a lot of times they can't determine what is reality television
from entertainment
and what is entertainment, and that then applies to what we're talking about today.
Well, if I may chime in, when I use the word subliminal, let me use another word. Let me strike that. I'll say
you don't have to agree with me.
Well, it's more of a subtle approach to make the society more desensitized to what the former standard was,
right,
up and against what the new acceptance is.
Yes.
Let me just chime in on what you said. You're right. Our children sometimes can't decipher entertainment from what I call our not reality television shows. Because the truth of the matter is, life is not one big party.
Right.
We can't keep up with the Kardashians. We don't have those kind of budgets in real life.
Exactly.
You know, so we just can't walk around and pose and show up for an appearance and somebody write us a $500,000 check. You know, that's not our reality.
Okay.
It's not our reality. And so television, like I said, there's no moral rectitude. There's no governor. There's no meter for discretion now in entertainment. And so we have to be very transparent with this oncoming generation.
Right.
But at the same token, still try to instill a standard. Let me speak to a point you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
If we're getting our cues on what love is, the subject matter of today is out the window. Because nobody's talking about abstinence and sustaining. I tell all the time, the church is getting quieter and the world is getting louder.
Okay.
And so now, because the world has this big voice, this big platform, in what the old folk used to call carnal mindset, I think one of the issues is that where is the voice that's countering the love and hip hop that says showing these networks showing women catted against catty women against other women who should be celebrating one another, who should be lifting one another up, and they fighting over a joker that ain't fit for the flies to blow over. And I don't understand. You know, I don't understand it. You know, I normally say, let me say one more thing. I tell a woman all the time, because I do a lot of women conferences, so I might be in a room with 200, 2,000 women at one time. And so during the quick Q&A period, I'm always asked, especially from those who are dating, well, what should I look for in a man? What should I know? Because nobody's really, because now the idea of what man is and what a real man is can be totally different. Because you got so much going on. You got down low, you got in the closet, you got gay, you got switch hitters, you got people playing both teams. You got so much going on now. And so I tell them, I call it the 6 C's. That women, before you even consider really dating a guy seriously, there's a biblical word, it's hupogrammos. Hupo means under, grammos means to write, where we get our word grammar. It's underwriting. People don't do proper underwriting anymore.
Now tell us what that is.
Well, we're living in a society that's so visually charged, so sexually infused, that everything is about seeing it first. And so when you see it, you just want it. And then when you get it, you find out you wish you had left it where it was. And so we got to be very clear that you have to be able to do your proper underwriting. It's what banks and insurance companies do before they loan you money or write you a policy. They want to see if you're a good risk. So I tell women, every man, before you even give him your phone number good, try to do enough underwriting to see if he has what I call the 6 basic C's. Number 1, and you know, hey, I'm a Christian, so I'm not going to be shamed, not going to go in the closet just because I'm on the radio. He needs to have Christ. He needs to have a relationship. Not just go to church, but a relationship with Christ, because if a man can lead you in worship, he can't lead you nowhere but down. Number 2, he needs to have character. Character is best determined by time and circumstance. How does he act when he's angry? How does he respond to certain situations? And only character can be determined by people that know him best. So if his mama say he ain't no darn good, and she been knowing him all his life, how you gonna make him some good if you just met him on Twitter? You know, and so.
But you know, sometimes the mama ain't no good.
Exactly.
And she's not gonna tell you he's no good.
Exactly, because she's pro her son.
She's pro her son, and he's pimped her for years. And now she wants him to pimp somebody else so that she can keep some of her money. So anyway, you have to be able to see through that.
Exactly. True enough. But through time and circumstance. And meeting people that know the person best. You know, if you have nothing to hide, introduce me to your friends. You know, let me get around you in your sacred space, around people. What are you hiding? If I'm really going to see your character, I really need to be around people that have their hand on the temperament for how you've reacted and been before me. And so character. And then thirdly, credibility. Credibility is determined by responsibility. You know, if you got a job, then you ought to have a pay stub. You know, and
if you have a job, you should get up and go to it every day.
Exactly. Credibility is determined by responsibility. If you can't pay your bills, how you gonna pay our bills? You know, and then he needs to have some cash. He don't need to be the Rockefellers, But, romance without finance is ignorance. And if you hang around broke too long, you become a nuisance. And I tell women, if he's good enough to sweat on you, he's good enough to sweat for you.
Wow, I like that.
And so he needs to have some cash. Then he needs to have a crib. He need that, if it ain't nothing but a 1-bedroom efficiency, somewhere where he lay his head.
Now, does crib count if, like, your mama lives there, but you moved in there to help her out, but you're not really helping her out, but you're living there? Does that count as
let me specify. No, that's his mama's crib, really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he needs to have his own crib where he gets his mail.
So if your mama's hollering down at you from the top
y'all
to your
trying to watch a movie, here she come with her house
apartment.
coat on, strolling through the living room with her dust on. No, there's no privacy in that.
He needs to have his own place.
Exactly, and he needs to have a car. And I'm an equal opportunity brother, so if he got 2 good bus passes, I'll work with him.
Okay, because we have some brothers and sisters who we're hurt all around the world. So we have some places where, I do know that sometimes cultures are different. And people do live with their parents longer, and cars are not always accessible for people. Like, even in New York, a lot of people, ride the subway and stuff like that. But I understand they need to be able to travel around independently.
Exactly.
And to bring you with them. So you're sounding like this person needs to be a trustworthy adult.
At least have to be established.
Yes.
Your subject matter today is called bedding before wedding, or wedding before bedding, whichever. And
no, you have to get it right. It's bedding before wedding.
Bedding before wedding.
Yes.
Well, pre this day and age in the Bible, a man normally married a younger girl.
Right.
Now, not pedophilia young.
Right.
But he was only allowed to get married at a certain age because he was expected to have certain necessities.
Right.
Before he was allowed to take on the girl.
Those things.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
exactly.
This is biblical. Before he needs to have some stuff established. Not y'all just met and y'all at the hourly rate motel, trying to, going at it, trying to figure out. I know children listeners like temperament. I'm one of those raw preachers. So
yeah, that's fine. Well,
rated X.
They may not know what going at it is.
Yeah. And you don't even know each other's names.
Right. Yes.
And society or culture now promotes that it's all about that we've tied our worth into our sex drive.
Okay.
At the end of the day, who's going to be there for you when you're not able to perform?
True.
Who's going to take care of you in those
brothers,
years?
When you're not able to perform, who's going to be there for you?
Exactly.
Because
that's scary. That's
yes,
a scary
because
thought.
a lot of times they talk about women having this expiration date in terms of getting older and nobody's going to want you after you get to a certain age. But then I counter that and I say, well, now, brothers, you have an expiration date too.
Exactly.
And you get reputations as well. You see a handsome man who's always at the club and always with a different woman, and he hits a certain age and he's still not married, and he wonders why. And it's nobody's taking you seriously anymore.
Exactly.
When the girl sees you, she goes, girl, he ain't serious.
He ain't about nothing.
He's dated everybody.
Exactly.
Well, I think we have started off with a bang. We have started off with a bang. It's time. Wow, yes. We have almost talked for 30 minutes. It is time for our first break. No, you're excellent. And you have on purple and you look great. So we appreciate that. Are we as a culture really doing what we say we believe in? Or do we really believe in something else? Are our actions matching up with our belief systems? And I really think they're not matching up. And I know I'm in the Bible Belt. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and everybody will probably link up everything religiously, but I'm going to come from a psychological standpoint about how stressful that is to believe one thing or say you believe one thing and then act another way. That's called cognitive dissonance, and that creates stress in your life.
No, definitely.
And that's why things don't always add up, because you're saying one thing to your friends and your family, maybe your church members, your synagogue, your wherever you go, or you may be atheist, but yet you're kind of going along with everyone else, whatever that is, but yet you're doing something different. And I'm going to talk about it from either way. You may be someone who really and truly you don't believe in premarital sex, but you're engaging in it and you feel stressed out, conversely, you may not really think it's all that big of a deal to have premarital sex, and you're not engaging in it and you're having a fit there. Or, I mean, it can go a lot of different ways. So what I would say to everyone is you really have to go inside yourself and be true to yourself and decide what your belief is about what you're going to do with your body and stick to it. And guess what? Every day you live and breathe, you get to change your mind. If you change your mind, if maybe you were atheist and you accepted God, or maybe you were Baptist and you decided to become something else, because God gives everybody a chance to change and have a choice. That is the wonderful grace that He gives all of us. Now you have to deal with the consequences, but you do have a choice. You're going to say something, Felix, Cordova.
Yes, thank you. Hey, by the way, you were talking about listeners abroad. I just want to say hello to Paula. She's checking in on us. It's 9, almost 10 o'clock here.
Where's there?
10, Australia.
Yay! Hey!
Awesome. But, she's not on my list right here as far as divorce rate, because I was looking at this because I was shocked. My computer has a screensaver. It's those cabins you see floating over the turquoise waters in the Maldives.
Okay. Beautiful.
Beautiful place. That's where you want to go for honeymoons.
Yeah.
But would you believe they are number one in divorce rate?
Really?
They are number one. They actually, I read an article that said almost every female there has been married 3 times.
Wow.
The courting process for that particular location, considering that, every honeymooner or any single guy that wants to romance someone wants to be there because it's so tranquil and just so beautiful.
Right.
I think romance is in the air constantly.
Well, it is.
But it's the highest divorce rate. The courting process is 3 motorcycle drives around the island, and that's their courting process. So after that 3rd bike ride, you're involved.
Well, how big is how long does it take you to get around the island?
Talk about it's resolved really quick.
Wow.
But then I thought, the U.S. had that issue, right?
Okay.
But we're actually rated 3rd in the highest ranking divorce rate.
Okay.
It looks like Belarus is above us. It's Cuba below the U.S. And then it's Estonia, Panama is 6, Puerto Rico, my lovely place, is actually 7. Ukraine is listed as the 8th. Russia is number 9, and there's a tie between Antigua and Barbuda.
Wow.
So they are number 10 on the list for divorce. So you can imagine if they're divorcing at that rate, they're probably courting much quicker,
Right.
because there is that hand-in-hand thing.
Yeah. And I agree with you, but then there are also people who get married relatively quickly and stay married till death do them part. And so I guess part of what I'm thinking about this would be that, some people are more sure, some people have more of a stick-to-itness when it comes to situations. Some people can tolerate more than other people, can tolerate people more than other people. And, I think some of us, a lot of us feel jealous about, of those people who, how can you meet the love of your life and be right and meet them quickly and stay married to them for forever? I mean, it's just wonderful. Yes. Go ahead.
Can I chime in? You brought up, and thank you for, you brought up some very interesting things. My mind actually is racing.
Good, I like that.
Now, because you guys have hit it's like, can we have 2 more hours on the radio? Because there's a plethora of stuff we can say. The first thing you mentioned earlier, let me go back to something you said. You talked about, are we really doing what we say? People say that people who say one thing and do something else are hypocrites. No, that's a lie.
I say they're Americans, but whatever.
Hypocrite is when you act like something that you're not.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, living a lie is just as bad as telling one. And so I think what happens is two things. Number one, we only can flesh out what we see modeled in front of us. You know, we all have our own mental models. So I come from a family where my parents have been married now for 56 years.
Wow.
Now my mom was divorced before she married my dad. I have older
Okay.
parents, but I saw longevity in marriage. So that's what I desire. Now,
Wow.
unfortunately, I've been divorced. Divorced, and that's not something I'm proud of. You know, my ex and I are friends now, and we do a great job at co-parenting our daughter Brianna, who's in college.
Oh,
but
great.
but my point is that one of the things we have to remember when you talk about going back to the topic, bedding before wedding, the one thing that comes to my mind is, are we really telling society that love counts? Or are we weighing out the physicality, what can you do for me, the benefits of being with you? Because everybody has an angle and is after something. The greatest advice I heard about this particular, he talked about divorce, and this would happen to me. Part of when I wrote the book, Every Woman Needs to Know Her Cup Size, her calling, her uniqueness, and her purpose. Measurement matters from a male perspective. There were three main drives. Number one, the first voice that a woman heard, Eve, going back to the Bible, well, it wasn't from God, it was from Adam, her counterpart.
Right.
And when she arose, the first voice she heard was a man's voice. You're bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Every girl, woman, whether she wants to admit it or not, desires that voice to speak to her now and her not yet. And she wants the male voice. And likewise, for us as men, your voice is vital.
Right.
The female voice is vital, because who better to tell a man about a woman than another woman?
Right.
And who better to tell a girl about a man than another man? So the
that is
opposites
true.
work better for one another. So those voices not necessarily contrast. But this is what I want to get to. The best thing that blessed me, that helped me become determined. I've never been a serial dater. I've been divorced for 12 years. Lord knows I want to be married so bad. I mean, I love the idea of marriage and all of that. I messed up and did something wrong. I misprioritized. I chased ambition instead of assignment.
Oh, that happened.
And I
so
wanted
much.
success more than I wanted convenience. And when you get that confused, as long as you're chasing ambition, you stay tired. Because once you get something, you find there's something else to be gotten.
Right.
And that may not be grammatically correct. But when you chase your assignment, God will give you a grace that makes it easy. It'll be like second nature. But the greatest thing that happened when I got ready to write this book, talking about bedding before wedding, it made me think. When I got ready to write this book, Trayvon Martin had gotten killed.
Okay.
And so the nation was so racially charged. And so I took some young people from our church to Buffalo Wild Wings just to hear their voice
Okay.
and what they thought about Trayvon Martin and this whole tragedy. Because sometimes those of us who are a little older, we think we know it all. Well, the kids need to do this. Well, it's the parents' fault. Well, if they
Exactly.
had mamas and if daddies were in the house. And so we do all this. But really, we need to hear their little voices.
Yes.
They have an opinion. So when I took them out, I heard all these plethora of thoughts and emotions. And so when we got through, they said, Pastor, look, we don't want to go home. We want to hang out with you. So I called their parents and we're like, look, if they with you, we know they're all right. But I wanted a second set of eyes. So I called my admin, Alicia Hill. And she's a former WNBA basketball player.
Oh, great.
And she said, Pastor, I'll meet you out to help take them to the movie. This was a small group. And so I paid for the tickets to go to the movie, and we walked toward the guy to take the tickets, and he was handicapped, like he had multiple sclerosis or cerebral palsy. He talked with a
Okay.
slur.
Okay.
And so he assumed we were a family. He said, how did you find somebody to put up with you? And my admin said, oh, no, that's not my husband. That's my pastor. And he said, I'm sorry. And I said, well, how did you find somebody to put up with you? And he said, 54 years, the same woman, and held his wedding band up. And we all
Wow.
looking like, wow, brother handicapped on a walker and everything. He got somebody 54 years. We know some folk that can't stay together 54 days.
Wow, I know.
And he said, you want to know the secret? I said, yes, sir. Dr. K, the greatest words I ever heard about relationship caused me to go home and write this book, push it out.
All right.
He said, here's the secret, son. We didn't have a wedding. We had a funeral. I died to myself. She died to herself. And we both died to Christ. And I wanted to call every couple that I'd ever counseled, married, and apologize to them and tell them you should have had a funeral before you had the wedding. Because when you die to yourself and he dies to himself and you both die to Christ, then there's nothing you can't make it through.
Wow.
So I believe and I'll say this in conclusion
So
on
it's
this
like
section.
you have to melt as individuals and then
Exactly.
kind of form this unity candle together.
Exactly.
And
But-
now that does make you a new person.
Exactly. And
Yes.
then what was your premonition of sex before marriage?
Mm-hmm.
What was your sexual model? And what I mean by that is, if you've ruined yourself with a bunch of toys and a bunch of other stuff and a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
partners, then whoever you choose to life mate with,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to expect them to reach those expectations. And that's a lot of pressure because
Yeah.
men aren't battery operated. Unfortunately, you know, and so
That's true.
You know. I mean, I know that's kind of a
Right.
sticky
But
subject.
no,
and-
that is
But
very
you know, I
true.
believe in pushing the envelope. We got to be honest.
Now that is very true.
Yeah.
We have to be very, very honest, and I think that what happens is sometimes people who are engaging in premarital sex, and
Yes.
here at On the Couch with Dr. K, there's no judgment.
Exactly.
But what I challenge people to do is to really, really, really look at it and think about it critically.
Yes.
Because really and truly, let's say if you knew nothing about sex and you decided to get married and you're both virgins. Now you have your whole lives to kind of be together,
Discover
figure it
it,
out,
yeah.
discover it, and
Yeah.
it would be great because
Yeah.
you really don't know anything else.
Exactly.
You know, and when we get to our stats and facts, we'll kind of look at virginity and all of that stuff. But you know, so critically, if you don't know it, then you
Yes.
can't really measure it.
Yes.
So we have two great people. Come on in.
Okay.
Come on in. Have a seat. We're going to get you mic'd up. Hi. How are you? Good. Oh wow. Okay. So we can have two people in. All right. We have some microphones over there.
Yes.
Okay, so we have Ms. Michelle Turner. How are you, ma'am? Great. So let me get you to speak in this mic right over here and introduce yourself. We're talking about bedding before wedding. Whatever happened to the concept of abstinence? And those of you who are out there, if you want to get in on this conversation, you can give us a call at 901-650-2569 or 901-866-9540. We have Michelle Turner. Yay!
Hi.
So introduce
I
yourself.
am so glad to be here.
We're
I am
so glad
Michelle
to have
Turner.
you here. Tell us
Yes.
about you and who you have with you.
I have my team here.
Okay. Great.
And Mr. Keith.
Hi,
And he's
Mr.
going to
Keith.
speak more on what we got going on and everything, and
Okay.
can tell you more about everything what's going on.
All
so
right,
I'm gonna let
okay.
him speak.
Okay, Mr. Keith. Wow. We have a woman who is actually like bowing down and letting the man go forward. Girl, we're going to put some
it.
holy oil on you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go
What?
ahead,
That
Mr.
still
Keith.
exists? What?
Exactly. Well, you just saw it. Okay. So, Mr. Keith, we're listening. Tell us about yourself.
Well, you know, it's been a long time coming.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to thank Michelle for getting my guys an opportunity to come out here and get heard on her with y'all.
Well, thank
And
you.
also 98.5, you know.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank
feel
you.
Y'all getting us opportunity. I got to give y'all love, too.
Well, we
And also
appreciate
your
that.
show, though, we loving that.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
and we are dark side doors out of South Memphis.
Okay, because I was about to say, who are the guys? Now,
Yeah,
okay,
we
guys,
also
at least
those.
step in so you can get in on the shot,
Right.
even though we can't. Okay, and so now say your name again so everybody can hear it.
I'm KD,
KD,
Elo the Skriller, Elo the Skriller.
Elo the Skriller.
Yeah, little one, little Iniga, a.k.a. Bill Street Flipper.
Are you really a Bill Street flipper?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so excited now. Okay. So now, dark side, right?
Dark side.
Dark side.
That's right.
Wrap your mind around this. We're talking about bedding before wedding and whatever happened to the tradition of abstinence. And we're asking the question, should people try out the cow before they get married, or should they wait and not have sex before they get married? What are your thoughts?
Well, my thought is that you should wait for anything. You don't want to jump into nothing you don't know you're getting yourself into, first of all. So you should wait it out and be patient, because sex come and go, but patience, you just got to have the patience for it. Now,
Wow.
your patience can run out, though, so they do get a, kind of,
It's a little
in
rough.
the mix right there. But then, you got patience, you just can hold on. You can hold
Okay.
on, because sex ain't everything. You still got life.
Very good. Wow. See, these younger people, I think, a lot of times people talk about younger people and saying, oh, they're just sex crazy and they don't know what they're doing. But actually, I've met a lot of very intelligent younger people who are looking at the example we have set as older people, because we do have this high divorce rate, and it makes them think longer. It seems like they think about things more critically even than we do. I want to get to some of our social media friends. We have Dr. Kenny Brewer, who is a minister and a life coach, and here is his answer, which is a paragraph. Thank you so much, sir. But I will get to the good part of it. He says, okay, here goes. I am a seasoned Christian who loves God, and I know God loves me. I am a licensed, ordained minister, elder, pastor for 37 years, and I have matured over the years in my teaching on this subject. The same Bible that teaches on adultery and fornication also talks about being non-judgmental, loving, forgiving, courteous givers, and coming to church regularly, etc. But for obvious reasons, the church has grabbed on to certain quote-unquote sins and will make it a heaven or hell issue when it's not. Now to the topic. As a pastor, I had to learn that people are still people. I don't care how much I teach, preach God's truth. At the end of the day, the choice to do is solely on them. As a life coach, I have to ask the question, how realistic is it to ask two consenting adults to refrain from something that their flesh has gotten used to for X amount of years? Because everybody is not there yet. Yes, God can sustain you in any situation. And yes, I advise them to hold out until both hearts are clear and protection is involved. I wonder, is that emotional or prophylactic? But anyway, because I know that our God is a loving and forgiving God. Now, people, on the other hand, need to sweep around their own front door. Love, Dr. Ken. Ooh, I ain't scared to say it. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ken. Thank you so much. And I know if you get a chance to give us a call today, that'd be great at 901-650-2569. But basically, it sounds like he's saying some of the same things that you were saying, Charles Bond, that really church and spirituality is about forgiving, being non-judgmental, and I'm sorry, I just hung up on somebody. Whoever I did, I'm sorry. Please call back.
You were just talking about
Some of our people
I
in
know.
Texas saying they're trying to call.
Forgive me. Exactly. Forgive me. Please call back. Please call back. I so apologize. But it's talking about being non-judgmental, and I think that is the part where we all are messing up.
Yeah.
Because even if we believe that abstinence is the way to go, and some people don't believe that abstinence. Some people feel like, no, you need to get in there and find out how that's going to be. You know about our credit. You need to know what's going on between the sheets. Some people really believe that. And both sides are judgmental.
Yeah.
Both sides. If people are abstinent, they feel like, oh, well, if you're having sex, you're going to hell, you are horrible and terrible. And then people on the other side say, oh, well, if you didn't find out about that, then you get what you deserve. You're stupid, you're naive, you're a little girl, you're a little boy, all of that sort of stuff. And what happened to acceptance and minding your own business? Because all of us, none of us are perfect. And a lot of times we do choose sin. Some sins are supposed to be like worse than other sins. So like we may condemn fornication, but we don't talk about gluttony. Or we condemn fornication, but we don't talk about people who constantly lie on their taxes. You know, and so it's like we do pick and choose different sins. So I see you doing like this, Miss Michelle Turner. Speak on it. What do you have to say?
Well, basically, on that quote, one sin is no bigger than the other one. in
Right.
God's eyesight.
right.
So it's no little sin nor no big sin.
Exactly.
A sin is a sin.
Exactly.
That's true. You
Can
were
I
saying something?
can I
Yes.
chime into what my brother
Yes.
said earlier?
Uh-huh.
You know, he talked about patience, and I think that's one of the missing things, and also to coincide with what you just hit on about the judgmental piece. But I guess I want to ask the question: what are we passing on to this generation to tell them that they have something to look forward to? Because everything is about rushing to the point. Then when you see what it's about, then there's no more interest.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like now we done used ourselves up because now we know what each other can do. But then what is there? There's more to me than just what I can do in the bedroom. And I think one of the things we have to do is teach our young men and young women that true love, which we don't put an emphasis on anymore.
I know.
Sex is with, you know, our television, our culture, media infiltrates our minds with images. Pornography is one of the biggest problems amongst 6th to 8th graders now.
I hate
mean,
that for them
yeah.
because I just want to say, sweetie, it ain't
Yeah,
like that.
Exactly.
It ain't looking
These people
like
get
that.
paid to do that, you know, so they can do that all day.
Exactly.
You know, at the end of the day, you know, if you want to be popping blue pills all your life,
And that's
you use
horrible.
yourself up.
Imagine if you're a 12-year-old boy and you think that that's how you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
Terrible.
I tell young girls all the time, listen, if he really cares about you, he'll care more about the muscle between your lungs than the one between your legs. And so we just got to be real honest. I'm not one of these spiritual do-gooders. I'm not one of these holier than thou people. I've made the mistakes. I woke up on the side of the bed like, what did you just do? You know, because and so I'm very realistic and transparent with people. None of us have reached perfection. And so the best thing we can do is be transparent with people and let them know the facts. Given the facts, people normally do the right thing. Just tell me the truth.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, you have some daredevils out there
Got a
too.
point there too, man.
Yes,
There's
go
so
right
much
ahead.
going on right now with these little kids, the violence. You know, it's just crazy. The rage, the killing, everything, the whole nine. You know, it's like it's crazy right now. We need to wake up out here for the young ones anyway, because they the new and the generation. And we already know we got a lot more to learn too, but we're seeing what we went through and seeing what they going through now is totally different.
Right.
And the way they raised now, it's like, you know, the guns and all they does, 14, 15, 16, they don't make no sense.
And can I just say one quick thing?
Yes, go ahead.
The reality hits home, but more so when it happens in your house.
Oh,
See, I had an
yes.
uncle who died of AIDS.
Okay.
So that subject matter is very sensitive to me.
Right.
Because I see we're not getting any help from our mega superstars.
Right.
If you're gonna put out a song, help us with some of this stuff we dealing with day to day. Don't paint this picture and call out women all kind of B's and hoes and excuse me, B's and H's.
Yeah.
And then expect.
Now, see, we got a sensitive pastor.
I'm sorry. and then expect for these young guys that's buying your music to respect our women.
Right.
They're not gonna do it
Right.
because they're being infiltrated mentally with this is how it looks. This is the right thing to do.
Right.
And then the church is getting quieter and the world is getting louder.
Very much so. And you know what? When you talked earlier about how you were, chasing success and you weren't chasing what was meant for you. And, that's in direct conflict to a very, very well-known saying that I've heard so many men say. They're like, well, you got to be about that money. You're not going to lose no women if you're about that money. But if you are about women, you might lose money. And that mindset right there. And I understand maybe the premise of it, which is you need to be about your business. You need to keep your head on straight. But that's not how everybody takes it. That's not how everybody takes it. And we have to remember, especially for children, they don't always understand the underlying thought. They understand it just like you said it.
Exactly.
They don't understand that, no, that was figurative. That's not what we really meant. They're like, no.
They took it literal.
Exactly. So they're walking around and they're like, these H's, they for everybody. You need to have money, chase that money,
These
get
H's
that
ain't
money.
loyal and
They
all
ain't
that.
loyal and all of that. And they don't realize that, yes, we all, now, because I like those songs. I like ratchet music. I do. But I also know what it means.
Exactly.
And I know not to take that seriously. Right. But children don't.
Exactly.
And we are to blame for that.
Yes.
When you're listening to your ratchet music and your little 3-year-old is,
Right.
this for everybody.
Sucking it up,
They're
right?
Sucking it up like it is milk. And they're walking around with no shirt on and doing all this stuff as if that's okay. And you're like, oh, that's so cute. cute. Those are the children who will be in my office. We have a caller.
Yeah, we got Tiva on the line.
All right.
Tiva, can you hear us?
Hi, you're on the couch with Dr. Hi, you're on the couch with Dr. K. You have a question or a comment? You have a question or a comment? Yes, go right ahead. Yes, turn your radio down in the back, please.
What if you already, I'm turning it down now.
Thank
What if
you.
you already said it and want to stop? How do you do that and suggest it to your partner?
Wow, that is an excellent question, and I know a lot of people are going through that. Wow, Tiva, you have taken us in a whole, I have goosebumps. You've taken us in a whole new direction. So do you want to hold on while we answer, or do you want to listen to the answer?
I want to listen to the answer.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for calling. We're going to go around this room and we're going to talk about your question. Thank you for calling, and please call again, okay?
Thank you.
All right. We're going to start with the lady. So, what are your thoughts? Have you been, I'm not going to ask you have you been successful. That's too much information. So, give us your fantasy answer.
Okay, first of all, I think if I heard her correctly, that she said once you start and then you want to stop.
Yes.
Okay. My thing on that is easy to do.
Oh, okay.
Because first of all, in your mind, you have to be strong-minded. A person that have a strong will of mind to even say, well, I started, but then with the grace of God, I know I can stop. So, because you got to have the grace of God. Because first of all, as her mate, they might not understand. You know, so she got it in her heart to do the right thing. So in my mind, that's the right thing to do. If you got in your heart to stop, and everyone can change. It's never too late. So it's like she got it in her heart to say, I don't want to do this no more. That means she got a willing heart and mind. And all thing she got to do is pray on it, regardless if her mate agree or not. You need to keep that thought, keep that heart, and keep that mind to say, I'm not going to do it. Because it's in your heart not to, because you would never thought of it, of doing the right thing in the first place. So in my mind, you just keep that thought and you do what's right.
Michelle is not playing with you. She is a soldier. Yes, ma'am. You're so right, because we cannot control what other people do.
That's right.
But we can control what we do. And hopefully by you making that decision, then that will change that other person. Because if he's with you and you're in relationship together and you're committed to each other and you stop doing it, if you stop doing it, it stopped. Really. So what were you thinking? I know you don't want to touch it.
I might want to yield to my brother over there first.
All right, go ahead.
I'll go after. I'm going to let him go first.
Okay.
I'm thinking like, it's a two-way situation, because you did make a decision to get involved with him, and he did make a decision to get involved with you. Now you got to have that understanding, because it might be tight, neat way. He probably would not understand it, because he got so deep in, he in love now. And you don't want to let go, but you like, hold on now, I don't move too fast. I'm trying to slow it down a little bit. But in his mind, he like, how you going to slow down when we're moving down anyway? So there you go, right. There you go, right there. See, so now it's confusion. Now he thinking in one of the back of his mind, like, why she didn't say this outside, would have understood it, when I done got in deep with her, and I'm truly in love when I got finished for her, and now she kind of not waving me up, but she ain't ready to be fully committed to me like that. So therefore, that's what you say, okay, well, let me hold back a second, and maybe I need to slow down too, because I'm moving on trying to get her to move fast with me when she don't want to move fast like that.
I understand.
So you got to slow your pace down too, and think about what you doing too as a man, because keep in mind, it's a two-way situation. She said she want to stop, but you got to know what she want to stop at. You got to want to stop too. And you can't make her want to do nothing she don't want to do. So you got to give her mind and open up and like, hey, baby, this is what you want, baby. We give you the benefit of that to do this. But next time we want to get in a situation like this, let me know out top that you ain't ready for this.
Right. I get you. Yeah, and you know what? I hear exactly what you're saying, because I have heard a lot of men in this situation who actually felt like they were tricked. And then all this stuff, then all of a sudden when they think they quote unquote got you, now all of a sudden they want to stop. And sometimes that creates distrust in the relationship on the part of the man. And I think as women, if you think you're going in that direction, you really, really have to think about that, because men are very sexual.
Right.
And I'm saying women are sexual too, but men are very sexual. So that is very important to him. So when you just say stop, it could, create some problems. So I'm thinking that if you know you're going, I think it would be better if you started off that way than to, than to change all of a sudden. People are texting me saying, OMG, Dr. K likes ratchet music. Yes, I also like classical music. I like church. I'm a well-rounded person. My goodness. But I do think that we have to be careful. And just like we want men to protect our feelings, we have to protect the feelings of the man as well. Because when you say no, now he's like, what?
And they feel it, they call their feelings.
And they're
start catching feelings like, okay, man, there you go. Right.
Exactly.
Can I,
Yes.
Dr. K?
Please.
I thank you for saying that statement, because you actually brought back to mind what I wanted to say earlier. This generation, this emerging generation, they don't weigh things out as those of us who are older did. We have to understand what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a culture that promotes promiscuity. Everything. You can't even buy a toaster without a naked body being next to it.
Like, hi,
And so-
does everybody look good in the gleam of this toaster?
Exactly. And so everything from Price is Right to
right.
whatever,
That's right.
everything is sexual.
Yes.
And these are, when earlier I talked about the subliminal messages, I really meant those underlying messages that the media sends to us that makes everything about sex. Now, to answer the young lady's question, going back to my sister, who asked, what if you want to stop? Let me say this to you, sister, whoever you are, and this is to all ladies. You, number one, have to be emotionally responsible for your own decisions. I'm a single black man, but I have to constantly police myself because I know what I like. I know my proclivities, I know my propensities, I know my desires, I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses. And, don't be in my church talking about, well, I'd rather keep looking at my daughter. You're probably trying to figure out what the rest of her clothes at. But at the end of the day, let's just be real with this and stop dancing around it. Once you've tasted that one thing, you're going to want it again. So don't start what you're not willing to finish. But I say that in the ramification of this in relationship. Don't start the relationship off in the bed. And then there won't be the pressure to constantly keep up what you weren't yet ready for. Because I mentioned the statement before they got here. It's a biblical term, underwriting. Proper underwriting. It's what banks do to see if you're a good risk on a loan. Insurance companies want to do it to see if you're a good risk. Why aren't we really getting to know people outside of the bedroom before we do all of the nasty freak stuff we did? And now we're like, well, ain't really what I was looking for.
And now you want to kill them
catching
because
feelings
you
over
remember
here.
all that nasty freak stuff
And,
you did. And you really
there
want
you
to
go.
kill him.
And you said it earlier. You said it earlier. For men, it's different. Women, remember, men are visual. Women are security oriented. Men are goal oriented. Men are hunters. They're looking for something to conquer. A woman wants security. So where a man is looking for something to conquer, that's the challenge for him. Where a woman is looking for security. See, a man want to know we got a TV. A woman want to know we got some electricity. So we can watch the TV. Because whatever you give a woman, she's a nurturer. She is she's a receptor. Men are progenitors. So we're, not trying to be too big, we're plugging in, and the woman is receiving. Whatever you
That's
give a woman,
anatomically correct.
there you go.
Makes sense.
So,
Make a lot of sense.
exactly. And so we're living in a culture now that's pushed the envelope to say do what you like, how you like, when you like, with no repercussions or consequences. But the truth of the matter is something we ain't mentioned all day, but sex creates soul ties.
That's very true.
So ain't nobody said nothing about
We have a
that.
caller on the line, and to wrap all that up, what I got from everything that you said is, ladies, stop making sex tapes. And if you do make one, make sure you put it in a vault somewhere where nobody can see. I'm just kidding. Okay, so who do we have on the line?
We got Melinda.
Melinda Allen Dodd. Thank you so much and welcome to the show, man. We're so glad to have you on. You're on the couch with Dr. K, and what do you say? Because you have created a topic that is just unbelievable.
What I have to say is that we have got away from some laws. Some people are not especially in tune with this stuff these days. And some people have just gotten away from that.
Yes, you're very, very true. And you know, the statement that you made is a simple statement, but there's so many layers to it. When you say, bedding before wedding, whatever happened to the principle of being abstinent? And it has just created a lot of different thoughts here in this room. I really want to thank you for giving us such a hot topic, ma'am.
You're so very welcome.
Well, thank you so much. You call again, please, and we have to get you back on the phone and be a co-host at another time, too, okay?
Thank you so very much. You have a wonderful Wednesday.
All right. Wow, we have another caller, I think.
We do.
All right. Well, Randa, hey, you look really bright and shiny today. So we're going to let you tune in. I mean, we're missing all our breaks. We just keep talking. Go ahead. So what are your thoughts? We know you're out there sometimes with your thoughts. So we're asking lots of questions, and I think we've all kind of talked about, you know, should it be done or not? And a lot of us kind of say, you know, you need to make your own decision, but if you look at kind of the consequences, it appears as if starting out without the sex is the better way to go. But then we also have some other questions, like what if you don't start out that way? What if you start out having sex and you want to change your mind? What do you do when you are having sex and you really feel guilty about it all of the time? What can somebody do about that? And be quick because we have a caller. You want me to let the caller go first? Okay. Okay. Hi, caller. You're on the couch with Dr. K. You have a question or a comment?
Well, it's a comment, and Pastor was just getting ready to touch on the subject real quick about soul ties.
Yes.
I guess one of the things for me, you know, I've been divorced for 25 years, and my walk had not been one that was of perfection, but at the same time, I knew that if you delved into somebody, okay, just like how we talk about STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, it's the same way spiritually. So STDs is still a two-way street on both ends, and I look at, you know, our younger generation, and I love my kids. My kids are my heart. You know what I'm saying? The youth, if we don't, you know, like what you're doing, tend to them and basically nurture them and rear them and the whole nine, it's something that could be so twisted. But as we have grown, I'm 55 years old.
Okay.
And it's still a process. It's still a learning because we learning every day. But one of the things for me, I guess, that had made it so apparent for me in my life, because I watched how if I slept with John today and I decided to sleep with Mike tomorrow and I did Joseph the next day, I'm imbibing every one of those pieces of those people a part of me. And then I wonder why I'm doing all of these freaky quote-unquote things that I did before. You understand what I'm saying? So it's the same way, just as hard as it is about catching chlamydia and doing this and all these different diseases, we really need to really start teaching about the soul ties, because that's a real thing. That's a real entity. You know, so I just need to say that I thank you all for just even having this discussion, because it needs to be spoken. It needs to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, everybody in the room, when you talked about, you know, the 3 different guys thing, everybody was like, oh my goodness. And we know that's just an example. But that is the life of some people. My sister and I, again, who put this yellow stuff in my hair last night, we were talking about, she's mad at me. We were watching television, and again, we saw some people on television, and they were talking about a young lady who had slept with all of the guys in the group. and they had given her a name. They called her a thought. That's the new name now for a woman who sleeps around. I'm taking it, and even though they didn't have a name for the guys, but they did have a name for the woman. So listen, thank you so much for calling in. Please call back again, and we really appreciate your support. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You have a great evening. Go ahead, Randa.
As far as with the young lady last night, what they stated is they didn't have a problem with what she was doing if she admitted to it. The problem came from her doing it and then saying, "Oh, no, I don't do that." So their thing was admit to it. If you admit to it, then we're cool with that. But
I mean, I understand that, but I still think
it doesn't make it okay.
And I really
they were just saying
that was their issue.
That was her issue. But
that's I don't like that. I think that's oppressive, and I am an oppressionist. People often ask me, are you a feminist? Are you? No, I'm an oppressionist. I believe I am against oppression in any form or fashion, and against any person or segment of the community, no matter where it is. And to me, she was being bullied because she doesn't have to talk about her personal life, and if she chooses to lie, we may not like that, but that's her choice, and then she has to deal with the consequences. But I understand what you're saying.
Her personal life really wasn't personal because it was open to everyone to see. So that's why they knew about what she was doing. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Dr. K, you mentioned it earlier that sometimes there's a double standard as it relates with the women and the men.
Right.
You know, like you said, the young girl was called a thought. But what men have to realize is that our women are a direct reflection of us.
Yes.
See, all a woman is a man with a womb.
Yes.
All a female is a male that can carry a fetus. So women are our softer side.
Right.
It's the softer nature of God. See, women weren't an afterthought to God. When God created man and woman, I wrote about it in the book. When he created man, the Bible says he created male and female, created he them. And then it goes to talk about how he scooped down from the dust of the ground. He created Adam. And then later on he says, it's not good that man should be alone. Women are so powerful. You all made God change his language.
So did.
Because everything he made before you all, he said it was good. It was a benediction. Benny means good. Diction means words. And so when he came to the fact that you all were missing off the scene, he said it's not good. Malediction. Diction, words. Bad without a woman. And so he had to put that finishing touch on the landscape of creation, which was the woman.
Right.
And so even when I hear boys downgrading our girls, it bothers me because if you slept with her, what does that make you?
Exactly. Exactly.
And then not only that, going on to what our last caller said, people, when I mentioned my soul ties earlier, we have to realize whenever you get sexually involved with somebody, marital or premarital, then you're introducing something else into your sacred space. You know? And so, nowadays living in a society where there's so many psychologically sick people who have so many addictions because of culture, because of media. I talk in the book about every woman needs to know her cup size, her calling, her uniqueness, and her purpose, about mastering your media. You got to be careful what images you allow to infiltrate your brain. Because normally what you see, a man is only going to do what he sees fleshed out in front of him. A girl is only going to do what she sees fleshed out in front of her. So if media has infiltrated us with this is what's beautiful and this is what's ugly, then if you notice, society gravitates toward whatever mainstream media paints as the picture of right and wrong. So if Empire and Love and Hip Hop Atlanta and Housewives of Atlanta and Housewives of Orange County, if this is what's painting the picture of what wifehood looks like, it's about trying to bed you a baller so you can get alimony for the rest of your days, or it's about having a baby by the right guy. If that's what society says then our girls tie their worth to who they give their goods to.
Yes, exactly.
When my value should be more than my physical sexual prowess.
They don't see the Felicia Rashads who we saw.
There you go.
Right.
Growing up.
Exactly.
Go ahead, girl. Say it.
Yeah.
And as far as how I perceive of sex, what is it? Sex before the bed?
Bedding before wedding.
Well, Dr. K, I don't know if you remember this, but we always went to a vacation Bible school. That was a must at
Yeah, I
our
was
church
there. I
and
remember.
our aunt's church.
Yes.
And I remembered back then, she stated, and I was like, oh. Anyway, but she stated, once you do it, you're never stopped. And I think everybody in the choir stand just...
She said a choir stand. She said a choir.
Because it was so many youth there. We took up the pulpit and the choir stand.
Exactly.
And she just
And
stood up and
she
she said,
said
once you do it, you'll never stop.
She wasn't lying.
So as soon as you do it, you'll never stop. And I think when she said that, it put a lot of fear.
Exactly.
And I don't think people, our young people that's growing up today,
Right.
they don't have any fear about
Yes.
anything.
Yes.
And of course, they're coming from younger parents now, and their parents don't have any fear about anything.
Grandmama 35 now.
Right.
She got her belly ring.
And everybody is busy.
Yeah.
Because now you have people working 2 and 3 jobs, and then when they're not working, they're building their brand on social media. So if you're not having those conversations, like how many people even sit around the table and have dinner together every night? Because that's where your conversations happen. Everybody's eating on the go.
Technology has ruined that.
Yeah, you're eating on the go. You're texting while you drive. You drive up to the drive-thru. You get your food. You eat it on the run. Run into your next job, and then when you do have a second, you're texting. And those are great inventions to use within the proper context and within the proper amount of time. And we're not talking. We're not talking. And part of the whole reason why I wanted to do this show is to really open up people's minds about who are you?
Yes.
What have you decided that you want to do with your life, parents, adults? Then what do you tell your children?
Yes.
Because we do have children who need to be thinking about what they want to do as adults. I've come across a lot of people recently who are undergoing dilemmas because their children are coming out saying they are homosexual. And they ask me, well, what should I do? And they're frantic. And I say, well, you know what? Homosexual, heterosexual, shouldn't be no sexual until you are grown. No kids should be having sex, period.
Exactly.
And if you're not talking to your child about that, then they don't necessarily know. You think they know, but they don't, number one. Number two, and I know this for a fact because I've been in therapy sessions with kids who were trying to decide whether or not they wanted to have sex for the first time. And believe it or not, in counseling sessions, we don't tell you what to do. We listen and we help you make up your mind. Yes. And one little girl said, well, I love my boyfriend. He gave me some tennis shoes. And I want him to know that I appreciate it. And my big sister said, well, what my big sister does is, she sleeps with her boyfriends and they give her all kind of stuff. That was her answer.
So that was her mental model.
Yeah, that was her answer. Then the next little girl said, well, I love my boyfriend, and my mom told me I should never do it, and I shouldn't be taking gifts from a guy. But then she lost her job, and I needed a uniform for majorettes, and he bought it for me. And then she didn't say anything else. So I'm not sure what I should do. Okay? Then let me tell you the last one. Last little girl said, the last little girl, because I'm just sitting and listening, because I'm just like, woo. So the last little girl says, well, I love my boyfriend, but my daddy told me, no, he was going to kill me, so I ain't doing it. And she was very clear about it. She didn't have any wishy-washiness about what to do. We have to tell children what to do. They are not rational beings. You can't even rent a car until you're 25.
Exactly.
They're not rational beings. And so, yeah, you can help them make some decisions, but you also need to let them know how you feel and what your decisions have been.
Right,
so you were going to say something.
Your sister brought something to mind when she was talking. I enjoyed you so much.
Thank you.
The substratum of what she said basically was somebody had y'all in church under somewhere in Vacation Bible School, some kind of direction. Now, that's not to say church is the answer.
Right.
Let me be very clear with our audience. Church can't fix in 2 hours on Sunday what's been going wrong for 20 years.
It's true.
40 years.
Some stuff needs some counseling, some stuff needs to be talked about.
Right.
And then also going back to what you said, Dr. K, is that children are basically raising themselves and making adult decisions at 12.
Yes.
See, our mom and dad, they scared us. We knew that little boys were little boys, little girls were little girls. I'm not against your choice of sexuality, but we didn't have no choice to tell me whether you want to be bi or curious or none of that. Because mom let us know. Look, I grew up in a house with all girls, and I didn't turn out gay. Now, I'm not against the gay community, so I don't want to call the phone start blowing up. But let me just say, I grew up with all women in the house, and I knew good and well I was a boy. And my mama told me that. And I didn't play with Barbie dolls, And at the end of the day, we have to begin to set those standards. And as you said, tell children, give them the moral compass to make right decisions. Tell them what's right and tell them what's wrong. Because if you give them the choices so early, we didn't choose what we wanted to eat. You ate what mama put in front of you or you starved. Nowadays, children are raising children, and see if you don't do nothing with little Johnny when he 5, you can forget it when he's 15.
Exactly.
See, 17 ain't the time to decide to be mom and daddy.
Right.
It starts. The Bible says, train up a child in the way that it should go, not the way that it would go.
Right.
And so I think we're missing this whole generational gap where we have a generation that didn't grow up in Big Mama's church.
Right.
They didn't grow up in Vacation Bible School. They don't know nothing about
synagogue
Sunday
or
school.
the mosque
Exactly.
or the YMCA
Exactly.
or Girls Incorporated or the Boys Club or anything.
And so now what they're growing up is in front of a tube and social media and love and hip hop. And I'm not against those shows. Please don't. What I'm saying is this is
very
what's
entertaining for adults.
There you go, for adults. But you got a day now where there are cursing cartoons, and we're living in a day where it's off the Richter scale.
Yes.
This society does not promote, and I'm gonna be quiet, any level of moral rectitude. And then we want the church to fix it. When the truth of the matter is that we got to go back to being mamas and daddies. We got to go back to being that village to help raise. Don't your child now watch this. My grandmama raised 15 children, no education, no job, didn't have to go to jail and get none of my uncles and aunts out. And now you got one child. And they act like they the terrorist organization. Right. Your child is the Al Qaeda, and I don't know what to do. I mean, you can't raise one child, and grandmama raised 15, and they all had clothes. They all went to school, and now you tell me, I don't know what to do. My child is threatening to jump on me.
Your grandma got some great Christmas gifts, I'm sure. But I'm gonna have to. Wow, I can't even believe this. It is like 6:53. You people are just off the chain. So let me get to my stats and facts. And but before I do that, I want to say one little part about what you were talking about. Yes. What is happening? Number one, I never believe in going backwards ever. I never believe in that because there were bad things happening then.
True.
What people have to do, the reason why people were able to do what they did then is because even if they didn't know exactly everything about themselves, they made a choice to determine who they were.
Yes.
When you don't know who you are, then you can't instill that in somebody else. If you're still considering yourself a kid and you're trying to get out there and get your dude and you're trying to get your hair and get ready and everything, then your mind can't be focused on raising a child if you still relate to yourself as a child. So you have to kind of make a decision like, who am I? And that is a very hard question for a lot of us to answer because we are oftentimes trying to defy gravity, defy age, defy everything, and some of us are born with great genes and we look younger than our age. Some of us look our age, and that's perfectly fine. But you're trying to create something else that's not the reality, and that's where that cognitive dissonance comes in.
40 is the new 30.
Yeah.
No, it's the 40.
40 is, which don't get me wrong, I love it that we're now looking at 40-year-old women as being sexy, because that is the truth.
Exactly.
80-year-old women are sexy to their 86-year-old husbands.
Exactly.
So everybody is sexy to somebody somewhere. So these things are true, but you don't have to coin it as something else. You can say, no, 40 is 40, and 40 looks great. 50 is 50, probably looks older than 40, but it looks 50 in that.
You called it dissonant cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yes, it's like
that's horrible. Okay, caller. You're listening to On the Couch with Dr. K. You have a question or a comment?
Yes, Dr. Kelly.
Yes.
Dr. Ken, how you doing?
Hi, Dr. Ken. Yay. How are you, sir? So glad you called in. What is your comment, sir?
Yeah, I think I just want to hang up now. Y'all too deep for me.
They're running all my time out, but I'm so glad you called, Dr. Ken. What do you say, sir?
Let me ask you, have you gotten to my comment that I made on Facebook yet?
We started off with your comment, and that just blew the socks off of everything and just sent us flying in all directions.
Okay, that's good, but I pretty much stick with my comment. I just know the reality of sexuality is what it is.
Right.
And I teach the word from a holistic, a whole different angle. And I just know people gonna do what they gonna do when we get through tripping and having all these seminars. People still gonna do what they gonna do. But I think the main ingredient here, I think, is love.
Yes.
The main ingredient here is love.
Yes.
If love is involved, you're two consenting adults, and you've done your homework and everything you need to do. Sometimes when passion get involved, we ain't thinking about, we need to pray. That's the last thing on my mind. Come on now, is that too real for y'all? I'm just saying.
You're very, very right.
And the reality of it is that people gonna do what they're gonna do with sexual beings. We were created this way, and of course, in a perfect world, yes, we should be abstinent and wait until blah blah blah. In a perfect world, we just don't live in that world. I'm sorry, we just don't.
Amen, Reverend.
Hello, right.
And am I saying there are not some people out here there's some people out here can do that?
Right.
I just know when I find myself divorced and abstaining and fasting and shooting basketball and walking 25 miles or a minute and all that kind of stuff. When I got through, I still needed a woman.
Amen, brother. Praise God.
I still needed a woman, and God. Now listen to what I said. Jesus, God fixed that for me.
Right.
God fixed that for me, and He sent me the most beautiful woman in the world.
Yes.
Who has a beautiful spirit, free spirit, and we didn't trip about sex. We did what to do. We got married. We still married, so for these real deep religious people, I'm praying for them. I'm praying for them.
And we agree with everything you said. In fact, what resonated with us was about being non-judgmental and having that love for each other and not choosing to focus on one sin over another sin as if, this sin is okay and that sin is not okay. It's like they're both sins. So, that all of them are equal.
Yeah. Well, the word for sin is harmatia. It means to miss the mark in the Greek.
And, that's every day all day.
And we're always, we're always doing it. I think one of the things that the church has to do, and I'm not church bashing, but we have to stop trying to over-spiritualize natural issues. Yes. We got to stop trying to wrap all this Jesus jargon around real life issues.
Right.
When a girl has been molested, we can't take her to the altar, oil her down, and tear her for 3 hours. She's gonna need some counseling. Yes. She needs to know that that there is a man that will touch her the right way.
Right.
That so she won't go into a marriage and be afraid of a husband that's trying to help heal her.
Right.
So I think one of the things the church has to do is to retool the way we handle real life issues.
Yeah.
Like Doc
First of
said,
all, we have to be real about it.
Exactly.
Because
Absolutely.
I think the way we talk about sex and we demonize it and we hush it and we put it somewhere and shh, don't talk about it. Ooh, don't let nobody in your pocketbook and all this old crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You have to talk, if you talk about it in a natural way, I think it takes away some of all of that mystery.
Exactly.
You know, because anybody would want to say, woo, if this is something that people won't talk about and you get in trouble if you ask about it, let's see what's about. And I think that if we normalized it and say, you know what, it's something. In fact, we're going to get into our stats and facts. Yay, I know y'all are excited. Yay. Yay, thank you. But if we say sex is something that almost everybody has.
True. Well, that's how we all got here.
That's how we all got
here. It's
here.
7.3 billion people in the world. Somebody had to have some sex.
Exactly. So you have to talk about it, and it's in the real context. And
how old do you think Grandmama was?
And Granddaddy too.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you said Grandmama, but no, actually I have a funny. Wait, hold on. Don't hit the. Yes, sir. Yes.
Now that brother read my mind.
Yes.
These same people who taught us this,
right.
They didn't have all their children in wedlock.
Exactly. You're right.
Real quick, my grandmother, I love her. She been gone home to be with the Lord about 20-something years. My point is, I didn't know my granddaddy wasn't my granddaddy to the funeral. I'm telling you now.
Right.
Saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, long skirts and all.
Right, and she was like, and we all gonna get your play granddaddy and go to church.
Exactly.
Come on. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
The excuse was they both want to keep the Social Security.
Yes.
But anyway, my point. My point is these same people was teaching that they weren't totally living it either.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I was going to say was.
This is my subject. I can
yes.
stay on this, but I enjoy these topics. Love you guys.
Thank you so much for calling in, and we have to get you back in real soon, okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to get in there. Thank you.
All right, you have a great evening. Well, I have one quick story, because I think a lot of times they're saying all this because they are experiencing cognitive dissonance, and they love you so much, they want you to not miss the mark like they did, and so they're telling you these, very rigorous types of roles. But I remember when I was coming of age, and I had my grandmother was a wonderful woman. Her name was Cleopatra. So if you know your name is Cleopatra, you bad, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm talking to her about, I don't know why we were talking about birth control, but we were. So I said, Grandma, she said, well, I thought birth control was, see, you take, when you know you're going out on a date, and you're going to be with your boyfriend, then you take the pill. And if you're not going to be with your boyfriend, then you don't take the pill. Now, that's what my grandmother said to me, and that's how she thought about it. And then I started thinking, Grandmama, I think you were kind of taking some pills on different days prior to my daddy being here. But that didn't make me disrespect her or love her or put, she was always on a pedestal to me because that made me come to her with more things and talk to her and gather her wisdom about more things, because she was real. She was real about everything, and that's what we as adults have to start being with our children. We have to be real.
It establishes the speed of trust.
Yes.
See, if I know you're going to be authentic with me, I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm going to come to you because I know I'm going to get honesty.
Right.
The problem with some of, and our brother mentioned, with some of the past generation, they were so busy trying to keep us from stuff. Right. They were covering up the reality.
Exactly.
When the truth of the matter is, it was some babies born out of wedlock.
Yeah.
Al Green helped a lot of us get here.
Yeah.
And so, I know you're going to say now.
And you can look at your family, and everybody, well, not everybody, but some people, you have that one family member who does not look like the others.
Exactly.
And they're like, no, that's your brother. And you're like, no.
Yeah.
Cognitive dissonance.
There you go. There you go.
People can tell the truth from a lie.
Exactly.
It tears you up on the inside.
Yes.
So you have to try to meld those things. So today, we have to hurry up. Our stats and facts, which were found by Stanley Shotwell II, my super intelligent intern. Thank you, Stanley.
Hey, Stanley.
And I'm only going to read part of it because you all are too hot to trot. Premarital sex. In a 2007 study, so you know these numbers are probably higher, it examined trends in premarital sex in the United States from 1954 to 2003. And for the purposes of the study of this particular study, premarital sex was defined as either having had vaginal intercourse before first marrying or having had intercourse and never having been married. So it says by the age of 20, 77% of respondents had had sex. Okay? 77. All right. By the age of 44, 95% of respondents had had sex prior to marriage. Even among those who abstained until at least age 20, 81% had had premarital sex by age 44. So we are not living what we're preaching.
Exactly.
We're not. We're saying one thing, we're doing something else, and then we wonder why our kids are acting the way they're acting and making the choices they're making, and we have to be real about what is happening. And these stats were from 2007. So we are 7 years past that. So I would beg to differ. That poor little 5% of people who hadn't done it by age 44, by age 45, they're gone. They're gone. They're gone. They watched 2 episodes of Love and Hip Hop and they're like, woo, let's do it. So, yes, go right ahead.
Can I say something about
Yes.
stats real quick?
Yes.
The church I used to pastor in Columbus, Ohio, was in the middle of the hood. And so I dealt with everything from gangbangers to, Felicia's and, Faye May Quisha and them.
Okay.
And so my reality wasn't the normal cute church reality.
Right, okay.
And one of the things that I did when I was telling you earlier about the thing we did with Ceasefire, where we got 2 major gangs to call a truce, and these brothers would come to my office and be like, Pastor, because I'd be out in the streets with them. I
Right.
wasn't trying to step behind the pulpit and with
Right.
the thou shalt nots. I was out there because I know that I did a series called "If God Is So Good, Why Black Folks Doing So Bad," and I dealt with how we're high in all the wrong numbers and we're low in all the right ones.
numbers.
And talking about HIV and AIDS, there's poison in his pants. And I talked about you got what you wanted, but you lost what you had. Dealing with those issues, real life issues of losing your virginity too soon. And
Right.
and one of the things that drove me to that was I did a ride along with some police officers, and one of the lieutenants called me one day, and we met at the Marriott after lunch, and he said, Pastor, we got to do something about these 8 a.m. parties. Now, this was back in 2010.
8 a.m.
8 a.m. parties. Well, here's what it is. And this is why we have to be real sensitive on this issue of bedding before wedding.
So it's not
This
a
is
day
what-
party at...
No.
okay.
8 a.m. parties is how they initiate girls now in gangs. What they do is, it ain't no more we gonna whoop you and beat you down and then now you cripping and blooding. What they do with the girls is they make them attend what they call 8 a.m. parties. And this is kind of a bit explicit, so I'm gonna be as nice as I can with the language. What they do is they make them strip naked. These are preteen girls sometimes.
Okay.
Get in a circle on the floor, and the boys will go around the circle, taking their turns, having anal sex with them and oral sex with them. And that's an 8 a.m. party, and that's how they get induced into the game. And so, exactly. So you see how shocking that is?
Yeah.
So the church has to stop, come off all this spiritual do-gooder stuff. Come on out of all these long dresses, and we buck shouting and jumping and dancing and ain't he all right all night and touch your neighbor and all that. We got to quit all that and set our children down and show them the realities of the dangers of making those wrong decisions too soon without that patience, like my brother mentioned earlier.
Exactly.
That AIDS is real. That now HPV, there are new diseases Jesus on the
Yes,
scene.
exactly.
See, when we were coming along, you go get you some penicillin and
keep
you know, keep
rolling.
it pushing.
Yes.
Now they got some stuff that you know
can't get rid
you
of.
need,
Yes.
you need God and 4 more other white folks to get rid of. You know, no offense, but I mean, you know, you need you some you know HTC and some you know we gonna need some everything. And so, but my point,
goodness,
I'm sorry,
yes.
but my point is that the reality is that we've got to become more. Not just transparent, you know, just
More
I just gonna keep it
relational.
real, but
We
we
have to
got
be
to tell
relational
people the
with each other.
truth
Yes.
and say, look, there are consequences
Yes.
to all this sleeping around. I know everybody ain't gonna be abstinent. God knows I wish I had been more in my life.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, I didn't always wait. I didn't always, you know, as the pastor preacher, I didn't always do the, you know, one lady asked me, do preachers have sex? I said, baby, look, if you look up freaking
I
dictionary,
would think
my
more
picture
than
probably
others.
beside
Yes.
it. But the truth of the matter is that, you know, I don't lie to people,
Right.
you know.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that's why
Exactly.
people subscribe to my ministry. I'm going to be honest.
Right.
I done some stuff that makes me say, hey, I messed up,
You're
so
like,
let me
"Ooh,
try to
thank
help
you,
you
God.
not
I
make
got out of
same
that.
mistake.
I understand.
Yeah.
I think, too, what we have to do is, because, again, we're taking reality and we're putting it with our behavior.
Exactly.
We have to teach our children how to express themselves passionately without actually engaging in intercourse. Our children don't know how to date.
Exactly.
You have 14-year-old girls that's been with the
Already
same
married.
little boy for
Already
1,000, and I'm like, at 14, you should be able to date and get to know as many people as you want to, because you should not be engaging in anything that would prohibit you from being able to say hello to this person, say hello to that person. Because you should be friends.
Yeah.
That's a boy who is your friend.
You shouldn't be a 12-year-old bae.
Right, exactly.
You know, you ain't wifeyed up at 12.
Exactly. But I had some fourth grade, so that's 9, who were using language like, honey, you know, that is my man. First of all, I asked him to buy me 4 butter cookies, and he bought them.
Wow.
So that is my man. So we're giving that language to little
To
girls
this generation, yes.
who can't even enjoy a butter cookie. Like, you, in order to be with me, you got to bring me 4 butter cookies. And I just wanted to say to the little girl, first of all, it's 4. Second of all, don't eat all 4 butter cookies. But that is the language that we were using. We've got to move on to our Dr. K's yays and nays. Dear Dr. K, what happened to the girls who like flowers, phone calls, and dates? I was a player that changed ways. Now I feel like a sucker. I did better when I was dogging them out. I'm thinking about going back to my player days because it seems like the song, quote, these H's, they for everybody. Yay or nay? Should I go back to my doggish ways?
How old is he?
He did not say. He did not say. But many people responded to what he was saying, and I'm going to quickly read through what some of these people said, because I promised if they would respond that I would read some of their responses on the show. So let me just let you hear some of the responses. This is from Terrence. He says, I went through the same thing. It seems like women claim they're looking for that knight in shining armor, but once they find him, he goes from being the knight to a trick or sucker. But I don't think all sisters are that way. Thank goodness. I just feel the good guys end up with the wrong girls, and the good girls end up with the wrong guys. Okay. And then Misty says, women who treat a good man poorly do not deserve a good one, and they then deserve what they get. So Arnett says, don't let a woman change you, because a woman don't make you like a man. It doesn't make a woman, don't let her turn your heart cold. You're not that person, because if the right one comes to you, you're going to take it out on her. So make sure you don't go back to your ways. And then Tanya says, this is so hard to say, but, quote, we are what we attract, is so true. That thought of going back means you're still, quote, trying to escape who you really are, or laying judgment on who you're fighting hard not to become. When that change occurs on the inside, you're no longer, quote, trying. Being that person is you, and you're not worried about the outcomes because you're sure about getting what you put out or reaping what you sow. Then you can spot someone who doesn't have good intentions a lot sooner before giving so much of yourself. People always put on a front at first. Of course, their best foot is forward, but you will see through it a lot faster when you are just true to who you are. You teach people how to treat you.
Yeah.
Listeners are smart. One last one. Well, oh, my goodness. So many. Okay. Ephraim says, great subject matter on the couch with Dr. K. All I can say is, quote, what goes around comes around. Regardless if you've been on both sides of the coin, treating a person right and just simply telling the truth is far more better than a few minutes or hours of pleasure, which will result in much more pain. I couldn't even read all of it. Wow. Gene Williamson says he mentioned a song that clearly indicated the word, quote, H's for everyone. Well, he needs to try real ladies who only accept the company of real gentlemen. And then Hector Kenneth Van Buren says it's hard for a good man to find a good, faithful woman because so many women are getting with the wrong type of man that's going to cheat on them, beat them, and abuse them, use them for financial gain. So when she finally leaves that man, every other man behind him that comes along has to pay for what he has done to her. So people were really responding and really, really, really thinking about this. Listeners,
we come back next Tuesday. We got to finish this.
Exactly.
I'm coming back. I'm
okay,
going to be outside the door waiting to
you can come back because these are issues. And I know, all of the shows when you talk about romance and money, they're really hot. The reason why we have to talk about this is because when you're not relating to people and you're not in love and you don't have that mate, you're poorer. You're not as happy. Yes. You don't live as long. Yes. And it creates a lot of discord within your community. So it's very important to learn how to get along. Right. Whether you're getting along man and man, woman and woman, however, you got to get along.
Can I ask you a question, Dr.
Yes.
You're a psychologist, so maybe you can help me with this.
Okay.
I think one of the things, and I'll ask it in the statement as a question, whatever happened to this thing called discernment?
It's hard.
And what I mean by that is that's dating is defined by Webster's as a social event of multiple individuals together for the sake of getting to know each other.
Yes.
Dating is not like you just somebody bought you some butter cookies and now y'all booed up, sipping out the same straw.
At least get 16 butter cookies.
Okay, back to bed and before wedding. I'm coming back to the subject.
Okay.
But I asked about that thing called discernment because I think one of the things that's lacking is that we are not taking time to really get to know people. It takes time to get to know people because people send a representative, as we've heard all before, and that one day they show up to get what they want. They're the nice, they're doing all the right stuff, saying all the right stuff, and then after they close the deal, then the real them shows up. So my thing is, let me give you time and circumstance to really show me who you really are. And therefore, if we take sex off the table, then we can discern what's really going on here.
We have to teach people how to date. I think the answer to your question, why can't people discern, why can't they date? First of all, if you look at the economy, people don't have money and they think dates equal money, which it should not.
Looking for a come up.
It should not. But even the girls feel like, you ain't got no money. Like, what is, that's how they think because that's what mothers are teaching them. That, in order for you to date someone, then, he has to pay this much for dinner. He needs to be driving this car. And I'm not saying that you don't look at stability, but Come on, dudes, be creative.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
You
we're
shouldn't
saying if
be
he got
spending
money,
all of your money on a
Exactly.
date anyway.
So what we're saying is okay if he got money, but he don't have to have morals.
Exactly.
So we're selling this thing to our younger generation that it's all about what you can do for me. Let me just say something else, and I'm not trying to monopolize the conversation.
Go ahead.
But let me, because this is really on my heart to say this. You know, we see Facebook driving all the, I call them these cliches, you know.
Right.
And I even post stuff sometimes. I say, you know, make sure that he's more concerned about you wearing his name than screaming his name. And I say that because everything is tied now to sexual prowess.
Right.
And so everything is determined by the bedroom. The truth of the matter is that we've got to go back to a more organic, real, factual world, world.
Right.
Not MTV real world, where you lock up 18 people in the house and see how many gonna come out alive.
Right.
Real world is dealing with people that's got real issues, and get back to loving ourselves.
Right.
Because see, a lot of how people treat you. Somebody said, "Oh, you read the comment. You are what you attract."
Yeah.
The issue I have as a black male is women say, "Well, they want a man that smell good, look good, got a car, got a house, got a job, got something, go to church." And when you present all that, they'll go get a joker that won't even pull his pants up on his waist and be in love with him. And so, you know, all that gentleman. But now to answer the guy who talked about, should I go back to dogging him out? The sister already checked him on these revealing who he is.
Right.
The truth of the matter is that if you spend quality time with people,
Right.
in a plethora, colossal amount of circumstances, in getting to know them, not what they can do for you. Stop looking for a come up. Stop. Listen, women, stop taking care of these grown men. I already said you got them laying up on your couch, eating up all your baby cereal,
Sucking up all your air.
You tell him to go get a job. He won't even go get a paper. I mean, the truth of the matter, I said earlier, if he's good enough to sweat on you, he's good enough to sweat for you. But the truth of the matter is that let's go back to organically getting to know people. Because what I've discovered in my own life is that even after dating, there's still sides of people that you never get to see.
Exactly. Hello.
You know?
Because people do not know how to date.
Exactly.
They really, really don't. And what you see on television is people going places, but they're not dating.
No, they're not dating.
But they're going places. You have a guy, he's maybe throwing cash at you, and you're somewhere fabulous, but you're not talking to each other. Right. You're not listening to each other. Right. You're arguing. You're constantly trying to tell her to calm down. And then you do that all day until nighttime. Then you have sex, wake up, and do the same thing the next day. And you still have not related.
Drama-driven media has ruined our race.
And you
not
know,
just
a lot of men,
race.
they like drama-filled women because of the concept that they're good in bed. And I'm like, but how good are they going to be in jail?
You know, it's interesting. All this drama that's extricated on the television shows. We mentioned Love, Hip Hop, and all that. Right. It's all in that ish. And if she touched my man, he ain't really your man if you ain't got his name and y'all ain't together.
Exactly.
My point is that I see beautiful women fighting over guys that ain't worth nothing.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, ain't all that good sexually, probably, because he didn't wore himself out. Exactly, he didn't wore himself out
with all these different people.
With all these different people. Then 9 times out of 10, his sex game ain't all that. The truth of the matter is that we've got to get back to a place where we stop making the measuring stick financial. What you drive, everything we own can be in our driveway and in our closet.
Exactly.
We have to change the moral standard and say, look, it's not all. Women, listen, stop. If you're going out of business, take down your sign. You don't want to be treated like a hoochie. Look, a man can't unwrap no gift that ain't got no paper on it. You got to, listen, men, I'm just a realist. Y'all, I might not get invited back.
Stop wearing your bikinis to work.
Exactly. Right. I mean, here's the thing. You say you want to be respected, but here's the thing. We're not sharing to this next generation that you ain't got to. My mama used to say something all the time. She said, don't show your hand. Don't show your hand. I play spades a lot. I'm a spade player.
Okay, all right.
Don't show your hand.
Right, exactly.
You got to know. That's why I wrote every woman needs to know her cup size or call her uniqueness and purpose. You need to know your cup size. And I ain't just talking about your physical cup size.
Right.
I'm talking about your emotional cup size. You got to know your mental cup size. You know, we're dealing with people now who are dealing with a lot of mental illness because of things that have been perpetrated upon them from other people.
Right.
And so now you get all these damaged goods and they dressed it all up. But once you get out on the date and then they you sitting there, and then once they start opening up and telling you all this stuff,
Right.
you see that although it looks real good on the outside, internally there are some issues there.
We have 2 more minutes, 1 more minute maybe. So we got to get to our 4-point star for today, which is love. Let's say it together. Love. Let's spell it together.
LOVE.
We got to get back to it. L, leave judgment alone. Stop judging other people and what they do. O, observe the consequences of whatever decisions you make. Look at the consequences that occur to other people.
Exactly.
V, verify your feelings, meaning take your time with that person. Take your time. And then E, remember this. Everybody wants that once in a lifetime love. It's just everybody doesn't want it at the same time. But everybody wants it. But they don't want it all at the same time. Oh my goodness! I'm going to try to give you all your 10 seconds to shine. Go ahead. I've already charged him.
We can take it slow.
Okay, good. We got 10 seconds to shine for everybody because I've already charged. I've already written it up. I'll send you this invoice. I've charged you so many $20 for your shameless plugs, but I really like that. That's right. Get it in, but I think you really owe me $200. So go ahead. We want to hear from
Dark Side Thugs.
Dark Side Thugs.
All right.
Your 10 seconds to shine.
All right, here we go. All right, y'all be on the lookout for the movie Dope Money in the soundtrack.
Ooh,
and we also it's on release right now, but we did a song with Busy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony, and it's coming out real soon. We got a lot of things popping out right now with the 7 Sign Movement, Rebirth 7 Worldwide. Shout out to Who Did It, Demetrius on the Busy Bone. Shout out to Livy who getting an opportunity to get down with them in the family, and shout out to our friends and family, AMP. My homegirl sitting up with me, Michelle. Then we on the top radio show. So everything in love right now. Be on the lookout for Dark Side Dub with the movie we got going on in 2016, y'all. Thank y'all and thank God for this opportunity.
All right, $20 for that shameless plug. $20. Anybody else want to say anything?
Oh, yeah, and we also got our new release coming out called Get Money, which is my girl Michelle is going to be on the song, so y'all be on the lookout for that.
Okay.
And I want to give shout out to this radio station for giving us this opportunity to do this interview with us. This Ed Loader Scritter from the Dark Side Thugs. Be on the lookout for it. We got a lot coming towards.
All right, good for you. $20. Come, I'm racking up today.
Yeah, what's going on? This Lil Enica, a.k.a. Dark Side Thug. How y'all doing out there? I hope everybody have a blessed day. Be on the lookout for all these exclusive hits. You know what I mean? We just been at work, man. It just take work to get where you got to go. That's how it goes, man. Keep your heads up. Do right out there. Go to school. Keep them kids in school. Do what you got to do. One.
All right. I'm not gonna charge you. Okay, we're gonna skip Randa. We're gonna go to Charles Bond.
My name is Charles Bond. You can go to my website charlesbond.com, or either you can go to cupsizematters.com, or you can go to barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com. I wrote the book Every Woman Needs to Know Her Cup Size, Her Calling, Her Uniqueness, and Her Purpose. I just wanted to give women the playbook. Yes. If you got a team and you want to win, and I got a team and I want to win, let's just exchange playbooks. Right. Love really wasn't meant to be a mystery. Exactly. Relationships wasn't really meant to be a mystery. Mm-hmm. The truth of the matter is, if we exchange playbooks, we can have a win-win situation. Everybody can win.
And I can get my $20. Good job. Good job. This is an absolute beautiful book. It sure beautiful is. Book. Did you have something that you want to say?
Yes. I'm Michelle Turner, and I just want to say to the Dark Side Thugs for joining me in on their team. Everything that they got going on, I'm involved, and I appreciate it. And also thank you, Dr. K, for inviting us. Shout out to Brian Pierce and everybody on our crew team. Thanks.
Yeah, okay.
Amen.
Did you have something you want to say, Randa?
Oh, yes. Once again, Dr. K, I just want to thank you for enlightening us with such a wonderful topic. Yes, and hopefully there will be a part 2, maybe part 3, because from just listening to callers and listening to Pastor Bond.
Yeah, Charles Bond.
And everybody else that's been involved in this conversation. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs some help.
Exactly. Okay. And I just want to say thank you, Dr. K. Again. Thank you for having me on. You are the bomb.com.
I appreciate that. And as always, in parting, I wish you a life full of love, peace, and happiness. Remember, if you can't be in love, then at least try to be happy. But if you can't be happy, then at least try to be peaceful. But when your peace has been disturbed, it's time for you to change your situation.
Amen.
We'll see you next week on the radio. You've been On the Couch with Dr. K. I'm your hostess, Dr. K, here at 98.5 New Mix FM, the first bilingual station of the Mid-South, heard all around the world. Remember to like us on Facebook, and we will see you on the radio next week. Good show, everybody. All right. Good show. Excellent show. Woo!
All right, so Raymond Harris says, if anyone feels depressed, they should definitely talk to someone before it gets the worst of them. Hashtag my opinion. Depression is a serious illness that needs to be given a lot of attention. Thank you, Raymond. I really like that you said that, because that's right. A lot of us will try to glaze over it. Girl, you're going to be okay. Just put it in the Lord's hands. And I'm not saying don't put it in the Lord's hands, but I am saying that the hand of the Lord also works through a licensed counselor. So we don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to, quote unquote, tough it out and just be there and be sad and try to figure it all out on your own, because there are not only mental elements of depression, but there are physical elements of a real depression, of a clinical depression. There's some physical elements there that you cannot just sit and hope they will go away. That's like sitting and saying, I have diabetes, but girl, I'm gonna tough it out.